Well, if there was one worthwhile thing to come out of this movie, it's that we finally have an answer to this picture over here. Turns out J.K. Simmons wasn't working out to play Commissioner Gordon in Justice League, he was getting jacked to play Santa Claus. Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is my review for Red 1, which is directed by Jake Kasdan. It stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Chris Evans, Lucy Liu, and J.K. Simmons. This movie takes place in a world where all these mythical creatures and beings are real, including Santa Claus. Sorry kids. On the day before Christmas, Santa is kidnapped, so this top secret organization that's in charge of monitoring all these beings hires a hacker, played by Chris Evans, to try and track down Santa. And he's accompanied by one of Santa's top commanders, played by Dwayne Johnson. And the two of them do not get along whatsoever, but it's up to them to try and save Christmas. Before I continue, if you like this review and you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell button to get a notification when a new video comes out. Anyway, let's continue with the review. Every time I saw a trailer for this movie, it looked like a parody. I know I said the same thing about Black Adam when that movie was coming out, but this one seriously looks like one of those fake movie posters that you saw in Funny People, except it's Dwayne Johnson instead of Adam Sandler. He's a bodyguard for Santa Claus. He has a bunch of animal friends that help him out. They're elves, and they rely on a hacker who doesn't believe in Santa to try and save Christmas. That doesn't sound like a real movie, but this is indeed a real movie. It cost over $200 million to make, and oh boy, is this a huge stinker. I didn't even go into this movie thinking that it could be a pleasant surprise, because even though this movie is directed by Jake Kasdan, who surprised a lot of us with Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, I just went into this going, there's no way it can be good. I mean, Jumanji 2 looked like crap, but I walked out of that movie going, wow, that was actually really good and a lot of fun. I didn't think that going into this movie, and sure enough, I was right. And there are two major problems with this movie that make it as terrible as it is. The first is that it's Dwayne Johnson. I really am starting to get sick of this guy, and between Black Adam and this movie, he is starting to have the same mentality that Vin Diesel is having for these past couple of Fast and Furious movies, where he is taking it far more seriously than it deserves to. Wikipedia describes this movie as a Christmas comedy, but when you watch it, this movie is playing as if there's some intense worldwide stakes. Everybody's playing this straight, and there's hardly any comedy at all. And to be honest, the most realistic character in this movie is Chris Evans, because he's the one that's questioning everything that's happening and is going, really? You expect me to believe this? Or if nothing else, he's just pointing out the absurdity of this scenario and this entire world. Dwayne Johnson, on the other hand, is straight-faced. He acts like he's in a real military movie. It's silly to the point where I just cannot get invested in this movie. It's ironic because I've always credited him as being one of the few people that actually got the tone of the Fast and Furious movies, and now he's falling into the exact same trap I've criticized Vin Diesel for. He also looks really bored and really tired. He doesn't have the same charisma that he did in the Fast and Furious movies or even Jumanji. And it makes me want to just put him to the side and go, Dwayne, slow down. Like, you don't need to keep making these giant blockbuster movies to drive your name. Your name is already big. You've already got millions of dollars. You don't need to keep pushing it for these movies that are just consistently terrible. But then again, he is making millions whether these movies flop or not, so who am I to say? As for J.K. Simmons as Santa, he seems pretty tired in this role as well. He's very mellow, he doesn't feel jolly as Santa should normally be, and he's barely in the movie. At the beginning of this video, I said that this movie was the reason why he was working out in that photo, and to be honest, I was more or less kidding, but if that really is the reason why he's getting jacked here, then there's no reason, because he's mostly covered in the traditional Santa clothes. There's only one sequence where he's working out, and it doesn't last long at all, so it just makes me wonder, What's the point of a jacked up Santa Claus in this movie if he's barely in it? Lucy Liu is also just there. She's not as bad as she was in Shazam! Fury of the Gods, but you can tell that she's going through the motions as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, the organization that watches over these mythical beings. And that's the other big problem with this movie. It pretty much cherry picks all of these concepts and ideas from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but applies them to Christmas. Like, the North Pole is covered up by a giant dome, like Wakanda. Dwayne Johnson's character in this movie has the power to make things grow and shrink, and he can also shrink himself, much like Ant-Man. There's a secret organization whose job is to monitor all these beings. Are we really stealing from Marvel and trying to apply it to the Christmas holiday season? And the one thing I fear is that there's a moment in this movie where they show like the Headless Horseman and other mythical beings, and I am so worried that they were planning this to be the start of a giant cinematic universe. Oh, good lord, no. That's going to result in the same problem that the 2017 Mummy ran into, where they tried to build a cinematic universe from the ground up in their first movie, and oh boy, did it not work. This movie is also one of the more ugly movies I've seen in a long time, even more so than Borderlands, because this movie cost $250 million. Where did that money go? Like, did it go to the actors? Did it go to Dwayne Johnson? Because there's no reason that a movie this expensive should have CG effects that look that terrible. Seriously, there are a lot of special effects in this movie that when you watch it, you go, this looks like something that should have come out 20 years ago. Or something that you'd find on Netflix that they just buried and hoped that you didn't find. If there's any point in the movie where I thought some of the special effects work looked good, it's when the two main characters visit Krampus. A lot of the creatures in that room, in Krampus's lair, are brought to life through practical makeup work, and it looks pretty good, all things considered. But again, all the CG effects are atrocious. They're just so bad that even though I don't take the Razzies seriously anymore, this would be the time to bring back the Worst Visual Effects Award like they did for Jaws the Revenge. There really isn't much to say in terms of good things. The best thing I can say about it is that Chris Evans is once again the most relatable character in this movie, and he's the only guy that seems to be giving a wink and a nudge to the audience. Like, yeah, isn't this absurd? But even then, it's not enough to save the movie. I've always wanted to see Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans be in a movie together because I think both of them have a ton of charisma, or in Dwayne Johnson's case, had a ton of charisma. But there is no chemistry between these two actors at all, and it's just irritating to see them work together. I think if there's any reason to watch this movie, it would be for the purposes of a drinking game. If you are drunk, if you are high, then you might enjoy this movie for how just absurdly terrible it is. But really, at the end of the day, I can't recommend this, and I say don't waste your money on it. I never found myself angry with this movie, which is why I'm not telling it to burn in hell. I was just bored, more or less. I kept nodding off, especially near the end of the movie. To be honest, one of the other things that's keeping me from telling this movie to burn in hell is the fact that I kind of admire Dwayne Johnson for thinking this is gonna be the next Oppenheimer, thinking, oh, Oppenheimer is incredible, let's use this technology for Red 1, and then boom, game over, best movie of the year. Oh, Dwayne, I kind of admire you for that, but this is easily going to end up on my worst of the year list. It is that bad. And there you go. That's my review for Red 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being subscribed to the channel. And I also want to give a special thank you to my YouTube members right over here. If you want to help support the channel even more, you can do so via YouTube memberships for as little as $1.99 a month. Not only do you get early access to all of my videos, including this one, but you get exclusive perks that nobody else gets, including my top 5 favorite series, and starting next year, the ability to nominate and vote for retro movie reviews every month. So I hope you consider joining as a YouTube member in the future. And until next time, I want to know what you guys think about Red 1. Whatever your opinions are, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. Don't forget to follow me on these social media platforms, including Blue Sky, and my theme park and travel channel right here on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.